My first company in Silicon Valley for $40 million when I was like 22. On the second half of 2017, that's when we started the IOST Foundation, incubating at the ad team with top VCs like Sequoia Cap or Matrix Partners. Hi guys, this is Jimmy from IOST. I'm the CEO and founder of IOST. If you look at all the projects these days, they're really kind of like radical. Some people are working on things, can be done in 5 years. Some people are working on, like very simple solutions, and we're being realistic. We always believe in the thesis that the best opportunity always lies in the next 3 years or 2 years, right? Like if you work on something, in the next 10 years, it's a little bit too far away. So by the way, we can also, keep improving the mainnet after launching the mainnet anyway. It's not like we just drop it after it launches. So, and if we launch it earlier, with decent performance and stuff like that, maybe not as amazing as starting in 10 years later, we can still to grow a big enough ecosystem while we're developing our tech, and we're gonna have a pretty big advantage in the future. So the first time we've heard of crypto, actually Bitcoin, was in 2013. I was in college, my college professor, his name is Chingas, a Turkish professor, was teaching me a distributed system. He was actually mining Bitcoin at his house. It was like summer, super hot over there. He has all these machines and geeks, makes it worse. And back then, no one really talks about blockchain. So we're all into Bitcoin because we think for the first time in the human history, you don't have to carry out the gold or shells or heavy stuff, and you still get to process your own assets without worrying about the government or anyone, your mom, take it away from you, right? So it's like secure, as long as you don't mess it up yourself by losing your private keys or things like that. So this alone, we believe that there's a huge value that has brought by Bitcoin to the human society that's really revolutionary for the economic system. So I've been buying Bitcoin since 2013, been holding, made some money over there, pretty happy with that. And in 2015, that's actually the first time people started to talk about blockchain as a keyword. Nobody really pays too much attention because back then, back in 2015, the price is still kind of low. Not really comparable to what it was in 2017 or what it is right now. But that's the first time Ethereum launched their thing. People started talking about, hey, what is blockchain, right? And then people realized that, hey, Bitcoin was actually built on top of blockchain, and it's actually one of the applications built on top of blockchain, which is cryptocurrency. It's more like a P2P cash system, right? So Satoshi is trying to use the electronic cash to replace the regular money we're using, or could be like digital gold or things like that. And Vitalik came out in 2014 actually, and he built a thing in 2015 saying that not only the banking system can be decentralized, right? There actually are a lot more industries like some other stuff, say online advertising or other things like social network, stuff like that. Like a lot of things can be decentralized, and we can use blockchain for a lot more stuff other than just the banking system or the money itself. In 2015, I was actually at Stanford. I was in this talk that Vitalik was giving. Ethereum was like pre-sale round. It was like 10 cents each. Nobody cared about it. I remember that he was giving a speech over there at Stanford, and nobody really believed in him. They thought it was a shitcoin because it's like some other altcoin like Bitcoin, because nobody gets it at the point. And he himself, he couldn't really give out any clear examples of what the use case of blockchain, because it was too early and he's still trying to figure it out. So here today, if we actually look at it, a lot of people are still confused about what blockchain can be actually used for, and people are still wondering that, hey, you guys have been talking about blockchain all the time, but how come I don't see any real world applications already, right? Like the only thing I've seen is Bitcoin basically, right? There are ICOs or cryptocurrencies, but I don't really unlike the internet, which I'm using every day, or unlike your cell phone, I don't have the feeling that I'm using blockchain every day. Theoretically speaking, we want something more than that, right? So in 2016, unfortunately, I sold all my Ethereum around $16. Nobody really realized that in 2017, there was this huge boom about SEO. So everyone started to issue their tokens on top of Ethereum. That's pretty much why Ethereum's price was surging. Like there seem to be a lot of solutions nowadays, like Cardano EOS, Ethereum, or some other project that even hasn't been launched yet. But if you actually look at them, a lot of them are going to two directions. Some of them are aiming too far away from right now. What does it mean? It's like they're not trying to build something can be launched in a year or two, right? They're trying to build something, say like they have fancy keywords like infinite sharding, immediate TPS, things like that. The problem is that, the decentralized internet they want to build is not going to be done within 5 years, and there are a lot of technical barriers there, and it's not going to be like, hey, we have some scientists, we can solve it. From our perspective, this is really straightforward. We want to build something that's secure, that's scalable, and in the meantime, it's relatively decentralized. In order to scale, there's going to be something you're giving away. I mean, we're not going to be as decentralized as Bitcoin or Ethereum, but in the meantime, we can have a similar performance, if not better, as EOS, and we'll be a lot more decentralized than that. Protocol called proof of believability. So in short, we're adding the second layer called reputation on top of proof of stake. In the vanilla proof of stake system, there's a major problem, which is also centralization, that the rich people become more powerful, and the more powerful they are, they make more money, then they become richer, get into the cycle. So eventually, if you wait for a long time, people who have the most amount of tokens in the network will dominate the whole thing. For us, we have this very brilliant way here that we actually empty reputation once in a while. Say you get selected for broadcasting block a few times, right? Your reputation gets emptied. So you can't really be like accumulating reputation forever. And this is really smart because you cannot do this for proof of stake, because you can't really empty their stake. That's their money. You can't be like, hey man, I think you're getting pretty powerful here. I'm taking all your ethers away. That's not gonna work, right? But reputation here, we have a second layer of token called Servi, S-E-R-V-I, to represent the reputation. Obviously, in blockchain, there's no like point system. We can't have a centralized server to record the points here. So we have a second layer token. It's only transaction based called Servi. Servi has like 3 features here. It's self-generated, meaning that while you're being a witness, which I'll explain about the witness concept here in like a little bit. If you're being a witness, or if you're verifying transactions, broadcasting blocks, or doing any really good things in the community or in the ecosystem, you will get some Servi. And the number 2 is that Servi is not tradable. So you can't really be like buying reputation on Binance or Bitfinex or things like that. It doesn't work like that. You can't really buy it from your friend over the counter. You cannot trade it. Number 3 is self-destructive, right? So it doesn't accumulate forever. After a while, asynchronously, we empty your Servi, right? Say you get selected for broadcasting block twice already, your Servi get emptied. They have to start over. So really, it's pretty fair for anyone that comes in the network, no matter you're late or early. As long as you're doing your job, you're holding your token, and you're doing the good things to the community or the ecosystem, you're verifying transaction, you're active, you have a good config of your computer, the thing you're using to verify transactions, your node, you get a decent chance to be selected. So this actually alleviates the centralization problem for vanilla POS, basically big time. And let's talk about scalability here, and how does POB help with scalability? So here's the thing. In order to scale without touching things like sharding or DAG, which may honestly not work in the next 5 years, if not longer, the basic way here is to try to have a smaller group to reach consensus, right? And this is straightforward. It's like if you have 100 people here, you want all of them to, verify this math question, it's gonna take a while. And if you only select 10 people here, it's gonna be faster. So a lot of people have this misunderstanding that they think the more nodes the network has, the faster it's gonna be. It's actually quite the opposite, because the more nodes they have, the more communication there will be, the more verification there will be. So it's actually getting slower. If you only have one single node, it's really fast, right? You don't even need any consistent protocol. You're talking to yourself. So for us, luckily that if we do have a reputation-based system and it's rotating, so it's not really fixed nodes here, we can always select, say top 10, top 20% of the nodes within the network to reach consensus. Other guys can be just witness and verifying transactions asynchronously, so they don't really have to wait for the transaction to complete. They can always do this on the side. And for the core people who are actually reaching consensus, they can be a smaller group, a way smaller group than the original group. So this way, we can actually improve the scalability part significantly. For us, we have a very neutral opinion here, and we're being realistic. Well, we're actually working hard on making some real improvement on the technical side. The way we look at blockchain is that it's not really as revolutionary, in the same way as internet, in the same way, right? It's more like a way to change the relationship between people, or between people and the corporations, or between how, the way people work together. And the other thing for Ethereum is that Ethereum is getting too big right now. And this is kind of like a problem because technical-wise, they're still at a very early stage. But like the size-wise, or market cap-wise, or governance-wise, they're like a big corporation, or like a big foundation. If you actually look at the Ethereum Foundation right now, most of its co-founders has left. They started things like Cardano or other projects. And there's not enough incentive for the team anymore, at least for like some people on the team. So I do think that like a lot of other smaller projects at this point, they actually do have an advantage because they can actually try something more innovative and something more, more revolutionary. It's kind of like the same thing here. We do think that there's a lot of room for smaller projects to grow in the future for the next generation of blockchain. Blockchain is not really like building a website, right? It's not like hiring 300 engineers and doing the boring stuff and doing chores. It's more like a research type of program. For us, we have a very neutral opinion here. Well, we're actually working hard on making some real improvement on the technical side. We're not interested in the short-term gain. We want to build something meaningful. We want to make a difference to the blockchain industry, and we believe we can. And we're pretty looking forward to that, and hopefully we're going to have a strong ecosystem around it as well. And we're looking forward to talking to more of you guys in Korea. I'm pretty much coming every month right now, so I'll see you guys quite often. Yeah.